know where the treats at.
Is this the passing of the torch, right? Is this what this signifies?
It comes down to that front office and what they feel is most important.
The champ is here. We've touched down from a higher plane. Why you landed here?
We always look forward to that week because it was always intense.
You know that we ain't coming back. We about to.
The man, the myth, the legend, Dante Hall. My favorite player growing up was Dante Hall. I love you guys in the show, but Dante was my guy.
Get to dashing because you done on the warfare.
Chief Concerns is presented by BetOnline and Olipop. Marcus Dash here from Chief Concerns, and ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year. It's football season, and you know what that means? It means it's time to get in on BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything football. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads to bet on during the games. Think you know your stuff? Get in on our $200,000 mega contest and pick 5 games against the spread every week for your chance at weekly prizes and a share of $200,000. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with one of our 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Bet online. The game starts here. Come on, baby. Go. Yes. That's a first down. That's a first down. This football season, I'll be putting down normal sodas like Coca-Cola for Olipop. Olipop offers a healthier alternative with its low sugar content and natural ingredients. Olipop is more than just a drink. It's a wellness companion that supports your digestive health. Packed with prebiotics, this fizzy elixir helps promote good bacteria in your gut, leading to improved digestion and overall well-being. So go ahead, click the link in the description and use promo code SODALOVE and get your can of Olipop so you can enjoy the game guilt-free. Go Chiefs. Use the promo code SODALOVE for 15% off now. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Monday Morning Tight End on your Monday evening. I'm Marcus Dash here with legendary Chiefs tight end Jason Dunn, coming live from the dungeon.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Marcus? What's happening?
I will say after 2 weeks of fantasy and just the NFL, it's rough out there. So many injuries across the league, and obviously we'll talk about stuff that's going on inside Chiefs Kingdom as far as injury-wise, but it's pretty rough. I think I say this every year, but I don't think I've seen a year like this with the amount of injuries we're seeing right off the bat like this. It's pretty scary. I mean, forget Chiefs, whatever, it's NFL players as a whole. A lot of guys going down with injuries and missing many weeks already, and this is only week 2, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I mean, and it's expected. First week, second week, you usually find like the soft tissue injuries is what's kind of starts happening on guys. And of course, it's unfortunate that we had Pacheco, our guy, get hurt toward the end of the game. I mean, other than that, man, he had a brilliant game for us. He was unstoppable. Things he was just doing, man, was just absolutely incredible. But it's one of those things, man, that teams are always hoping that this is something they have to contend with, and that's the injuries, that's the struggle of it. And so we're wishing Pacheco a speedy recovery. I know they're saying 6 to 8 weeks, but he may be out. I think he's gonna be a fast healer, man. We don't hope it's gonna be quicker than that, sooner than that. But if not, we got guys that's gonna be able to hold it down while he's away. And so that's what we're hoping for. That's what we're looking for. And so, this is something like indication of what happens in football. That's what football is all about, man. Football is all about this. So
do you think, as I've seen this talking point that Vegas Chiefs Kingdom is pointing out here, less play in preseason, more injuries? Do you think that's a big part of it?
I do. And I'll say this. It's not only just less play, Vegas Chiefs Kingdom. I do believe also, too, somehow how the guys are practicing, how they're preparing themselves. And so sometimes when you're not necessarily getting the physical part of football, if you will, like when I was playing in the day, we were hitting, slamming 2 2 or 3 times, a day. And good because it cuts down on all the other things, right? The concussions and all those different things. But also, too, there's a thing that you do, train your body hard, okay? The physical parts of it that we know your body starts to adapt to. And like case in point, one of the things they talk about Nick Bolton. I said Nick Bolton was one of those guys that needed to get into shape. Justin Reed, another guy needed to get into shape. Chris Jones, another guy needed to get into shape. Derek Nandi, another guy needed to get into shape. Jalen Watson, another guy. So we start looking at guys that really didn't get to do a lot of the preseason, but them trying to catch up, not just with the physicality of the game, but also the conditioning part of it. And so you could see at different times the guys are starting to get there. I said Bolton will probably take about game 3, same thing, Justin Reed, Chris Jones, and all those guys. And so you've seen where they gotten better from just that first week to where they are now. And I think part of it had to do with we had an early game on Thursday, which helped out in that.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some questions in here about Kareem Hunt, which we're going to get to. But first, want to take a moment to say hi to everybody, JD, before we get to the big news of the day.
Oh, absolutely. What's going on? So let's go look at the comments. What's up, Mike Brennan, Richie Hall? I see in here Charles Driver, Vegas Chief Keenan. We talk to you, Jeremiah de Muertos, Neff, Chad H. Berg, word, Neff, word. Good seeing you. Kareem Joe Delaney. What's up, Kareem? Always good seeing you. What's up, Andrea? Always beautiful seeing you too. Lewis Cutright, Cutbirth. Let me see. Ghost Hunter 1974. Good seeing you here, my man. Good seeing you here. Let me see. Who else we got in here? I'm the Brown. I'm the Brown's in here. Good seeing you, I'm the Brown. David B. Lacey Snake, Zulu. So we got some of the usual suspects in here, and it's always beautiful to see. So, man, we're gonna get into it. It's gonna be a good show tonight. We're gonna talk about a lot of the things that's going on, a lot of concerns that we just had. We seen in the first week or the second week. I don't know. I keep saying the first week, but the second week, especially against the Bengals. What was really ailing us, what we were really good at, and things we need to improve on. So I think we're at a good place, and this is a great game to learn from, to grow from. I heard a lot of guys express that, and so I agree with them. This is the time to get it done and to do it. So good to see Laura out there too. Hi, Laura. How you doing? So
you got Susan and Laura in here too. Yep.
Hi, sweetie. What's up? So. Yeah.
So JD, obviously we're gonna get into some stuff. You're back in the dungeon, so we're gonna touch on some stuff tonight. Things that you maybe saw, and also your grades. I know Mike Brennan commented on Twitter. He said he's always looking forward to seeing what JD's grades are on our Monday show. So yeah, I'm curious too. Specifically, I'm curious how you think the O-line did, because that was kind of one side of it was an issue, but when one side's weak, the entire O-line's weak. But news of the day. Something that a lot of people thought they would never say is that the Chiefs are bringing Kareem Hunt back for a visit tomorrow to discuss maybe potentially bolstering up our running back room until Pacheco comes back from his ankle injury, which they say 6 to 8 weeks, but it could be longer. But hoping for the best for him. I broke my right fibula in my ankle when I was younger. So hopefully he has a fast recovery. It's painful. It was crazy to me how we talked last night on our show. We're like, oh, he was bouncing up and down. He looked fine. And then apparently in the locker room, he had a towel over his head crying about the injury. So obviously, and how it is, JD. In the moment, you got the adrenaline pumping, you got a cleat on. When you take that cleat off, that's when the real pain. I mean, when you take the shoe or the cleat off, that's the real pain comes in. And I can imagine it was painful if it was a right fibula fracture. But JD, Kareem Hunt coming back. Obviously, everyone knows about the story. Apparently he lied to Clark Hunt about how things went down with a specific woman. He kicked her. I guess he never conveyed that he did that. And then, goes to Cleveland. She's cut him because he lied to the staff. Goes to Cleveland, has a decent, being backup for Nick Chubb, has a decent career over there, and is now a free agent. He's not the same guy that he was in 2017. It's been 7 years since that happened, 6 years since we got him. But he's coming back. He knows the system, generally knows the system. And he can also be a kind of a veteran presence for the young guys who are in that room. And obviously, we have Samaje Perine, but now with Pacheco out It's still looking like he may be the main bell cow. You have Kareem Hunt potentially come back. But JD, what are your thoughts on? I know we talked about this 2 years ago about this happening. But what do you think about Kareem Hunt coming back to Kansas City potentially?
Personally, I like it. Matter of fact, I think I was calling for him to come back maybe a couple of years ago, and maybe when, and I'll tell you when this was. Is when actually McKinnon, he was going through the talks. Maybe was it like last year, the year before last, and we didn't know if we were going to sign him then. And I'm just like, look, Kareem Hunt is a guy who's the second fiddle up there in Cleveland, and he's wasting away. Now, they got a two-headed monster at the time. Him and Chubb were doing an excellent job. But then it seemed like he just started falling at the wayside. Who was it? They had Ford. Ford came in and started taking some more, eating into it, right? Some of the snaps. And he seemed like he was a disgruntled running back at the time, which he was. I mean, we know Kareem Hunt has a load of talent. What shape is he in? We don't quite know. We're going to find out if we decide to get him. So all of that, you got to kind of figure out. Now, this is the reason I like it, okay? And I know people express, at least I'll talk about my brother. Our brother, Lance the Spoken, was expressing, well, why did the Chiefs bring it back now? And I've been calling for him to bring it back over the years. And I'm thinking, well, look, okay, for anybody, my thing is, it don't matter when we bring him back. Maybe bygones has been bygones. Maybe the Chiefs feel like, he's learned from it, he's matured, and everybody wants to move forward with themselves and their lives, that you just want to give up on a guy completely. And so maybe they've hashed these things out, talking to him about what they want to do with him. I think this is something that somebody in the organizations probably haven't been talking to Kareem Hunt, probably hadn't really been talking to everybody else about these things. But I'm assuming maybe even during all season, because we didn't know where McKinnon was, they was even potentially thinking about signing Kareem Hunt then. So to me, I get everything that happened here with the Chiefs and what he did. I think he chose some contrition. It has been a number of years. There is a maturity factor there. And I do believe when you have a guy who's in an embarrassing position, any of those guys want to be able to help those guys out. So I don't think it's something that you should shun him from the Chiefs forever. So I like the move. If we bring him back, I do like it.
I love the move. You and I think we had some fans who, I think when we had this 2 years ago, we had a video we had a segment about bringing him back. It could be a great move to bring him back. And we had some fans say, oh, Clark would never let that happen. And now I'm seeing comments here. Kareem has to have the blessing of Clark Hunt, which I'm sure Veach did get that in order to even get a meeting with him tomorrow. So that probably already happened. And probably, he's probably going to meet with all these guys tomorrow when he comes in, to get the full, it's been a long time. 2019 or no, 2018, that was 6 years ago. The guy's grown a lot in 6 years. He was a kid. Now he's a grown man. Not to say he wasn't a grown man then, but he's matured. It's been 6 years.
Right.
And the one thing for me, it would be an amazing redemption story. Imagine that a guy who was at the peak of his career in Kansas City, the guy, the RB1, gets into the trouble, gets cut. And also, too, I remember in 2019, the year we went to the Super Bowl the first time against the Niners, he had a speeding ticket where he got pulled over for, I think, a DUI or DWI or something. It was a year after that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And they had the dash cam footage of the officer talking to him, and he's crying. He's like, "Yeah, man, my whole life's been taken away from me. My team I played for was playing in the Super Bowl, man." He's crying, talking to the cop about this, and you hear that, and then he's got a potential. And I'm not saying he's gonna have a big role with us. He's not going to be what he was 10 years ago, but he comes back here and potentially give us some snaps on a potential three-peat. That's movie type stuff, man. That really, if he comes back to be a pivotal part for this team, as we ride it out till Pacheco gets back, but he could be a contributor to a team that goes for a three-peat. And when 7 years prior he was cut from a team, that's something that could be a movie at some point. But that's just, that would be wild.
It is it. I guess you could look at it as a hallmark feel good story,
Yep.
talking about redemption, right, and reconciliation, and just trying to get your life back in order and put it together. Um, sure, absolutely. I think all those things it could definitely be part of a nice little movie. Um, but just the reality of these things, uh, them talking and really dealing with the issues in the past, I think is very important. Like like we were just talking about it, just moving forward. And so, yeah, it has to be in the Hunt's good graces and whatnot. And for guys coming in, and he's shown a lot of, like I said, contrition, and he's very apologetic, which I know he is. He'll come in and fit in, man. I think he'll be welcomed back here with open arms, and I think a majority of the people would like to see a Kareem Hunt return. To be honest with you,
Yeah, it seems like in the chat, everyone is okay and open with the idea of him coming back, which is nice to see, because it's like, I think right here what our guy Kareem said. Kareem has never not wanted to be chief. Yeah,
right.
he didn't leave, because he wanted to go test out the market. He left for this circumstance, and if you read even more into it, he lied to the team because he was scared about being cut from the team by telling them the truth. I mean, I'm not trying to rationalize a guy's lying or whatnot, but
Yeah.
He lied because he didn't want to be in trouble. He didn't want to get potentially cut, and then he ends up getting cut because he lied in the end of it. But he never wanted to leave, and we've kind of we had Damian Williams for a little bit after him. He was the first one to kind of take the reins after Hunt left. But we kind of been searching at RB1, and then Pacheco comes along 2 years ago. But we drafted CH in the first round. I thought he was going to be the guy to replace the Kareem Hunt shadow. And then we finally got the guy Pacheco, and now we need someone to kind of help out in the room while he's down and out. So I just think this whole story is just kind of it would be pretty cool. And hopefully I think there was things last training camp, like Tay just sent it to us earlier, JD. But there was last training camp where he came in late to Cleveland. I think they signed him right before the season started, but he came in kind of like a little overweight, about 20 pounds overweight. So that's going to play a part in this as well. See if he's been keeping up conditioning in the offseason.
We'll see that's the important thing. The important thing is knowing that once he gets here, he's just not going to start right away. It's just not going to happen. Like, he's still got to be able to work himself in his shape. And so while that is happening, we do have guys here in the building that can get these things done. Carson Steele has shown he can carry the football. We know Samjay Piran can carry the football. He can block, he can catch, he can run. We know that. So we have capable guys that's already on the Chiefs to do that. And we have some guys on the practice squad that could come up. They need to get some of those reps. That's what I believe, because of what we have, the scope of our offense and what we do with it. I think we'll be all right until the time for, like you said, a Kareem Hunt to get into some good shape. And then, of course, until, Isaiah Pacheco heals up and comes back for this three-peat run. So,
and how much of the I got into kind of not an argument on Twitter, but someone was saying, like, I made a mention, he's a veteran. He provides, someone who's been there before. He can, shed some light and help out Carson Steele if need be. And also it just adds another guy to that room to take the, the pressure off an undrafted guy, Carson Steele. But how much of this is scheme? Because I also mentioned that he knows the scheme. He knows, he knows the pretty much the playbook. And the guy's like, well, he hasn't been on the team for 6 years, so how does he know the playbook? It's like, well, it's still, talk about how important that aspect is of bringing him back.
Yeah, I mean, when you have somebody who understands the system, he hadn't been for 6 years. It's still Andy's offense. He cut his teeth here. He knows his baseline foundational offensive understanding is from the Kansas City Chiefs. And so Nagy is still using the same terminology. The guys are still here that he played with. He will be caught up to speed real quick. Okay, it's almost like riding a bike. As soon as you start hearing things like, okay, no problem. He's got it. So that I don't. That's not a concern to me. He'll be fine in that regard. The question for me is just him getting into shape. That would be the biggest question, at least for a Kareem Hunt return.
Yeah, I'm I'm excited. I hope that it goes well. And also, too, I think someone mentioned it earlier in the chat, but Andy Reid is one for second chances. And I know a lot of people, sometimes that when we mentioned this 2 years ago, like, oh, no, Clark's never going to give him a second chance. I mean, Andy Reid's one guy who's always given the benefit of the doubt to players and to give them second chances. Just give an example. Mike Vick is a good example of that. And he gave him another chance in Philadelphia. Josh Gordon, he brought him back, gave him another shot. So Andy is big on that. So it's like, I could see that. I mean, that being a part of it, as long as he's healthy and he looks like, he stayed in shape. And Jay, is that a hard thing for NFL players when they're not on a team for a whole off season and for the first 2 weeks of the year to stay in shape?
Oh yeah. Sure, it's tough. Especially not getting any phone calls. You're not getting any bites, man. It is tough. And so sometimes, man, you may have the feeling like this might be the end for you. And so you start getting a little bit more lackadaisical. You might get out there and work, but like I said, you cannot simulate playing a game, like football. It's something you got to do physically. You got to just be out there to get used to it, to play. Everybody's sitting there. Well, not everybody. Some people talking about just lock up the liquor cabinet. I mean, you don't have to worry about that, man. I'm sure he's drinking like any other grown man is doing. And so I think he'll be all right. He'll be fine. But nah, man, when you're sitting at home, it's always tough. Like you said, when he came back to Cleveland, that joker looked like he was, somebody had the Tages say he looked like a fullback. So,
which I mean, Steele's technically a fullback, so yeah, two fullbacks in the roster, and Samaje's a pretty stout guy too. So it's
we got some big boys back there bowling, man. It's gonna be hard to bring down. So I love it. But that's a hard yard you need. So sometimes when you start seeing that heavy package come in, the 13 personnel, 12, maybe bring in Chanel, we loading up, man. We running straight down your throat. Say that's bull, JD. You got snaps in you today. I do. Okay, but I'm gonna need a whole tank of oxygen with them snaps too, Kareem. So, but yeah, man, I think when defenses see that, they think you run the football, then you throw it. We got guys who can catch the football. So I don't think that'd be so much of an issue, man. I like having big guys back there running and rolling and running over folks. So, what's up, baby? That's my baby. What's up, sweetie?
And also too, you put I could see you back there, with the power T formation we did on that 4th and inches to get them that first down, which we kicked the field goal on. But I could see you back there, Carson Steele, Kareem Hunt. Ooh,
oh man, come on,
that's
man.
Nasty.
We coming in with nothing but pain. That's what we bringing. All pain. My nephew's still on here. We used to actually have that package in high school, and I was in the backfield. That's what we used to call it. Bull. There he is. I knew it. That's right. That's exactly Bull. Bull. He understands that. That's the Bull. And man, we used to load up, man, and hit jokers dead in their mouth, and they could not stop it. So, yeah, man. Yeah, that's a hard formation and personnel to deal with. Seriously.
Yeah, so. And I think was it Jeff Allen, the former Chiefs O-lineman, who I think he works with KCSN. He made a tweet like during the training camp. He called Carson Steele Kareem Hunt. He said he reminds him of Kareem Hunt the way he runs, and he does run very similar to him. And then you had Kareem Hunt and Kareem Hunt in the same backfield with each other. Ooh, that could be fun. Very physical, two guys together.
Yeah, it would. Kareem Hunt, that's funny. Yeah, I think I remember him saying that. I tell you what made Kareem Hunt so why he was good is his balance. He just doesn't really get knocked over, man. He has unbelievable balance just within him, his hips, able to skate through holes and whatnot. I seen him, man, when he was up there at Toledo. I remember him up there, man, for real, in college, because my boys, his son, Logan Woodside, quarterback, they play together. So I used to go up there and go watch him, man, all the time. So I remember Kareem when he was up there, man, at Toledo. And I was like, man, if the Chiefs got this guy, and sure enough, they got him. I was like, yo, they ready to roll, man. They really got a good one with this. So
And he flashed right away. That first game against the Patriots in the opening night game, he fumbled on the first drive and then went off for like 3 touchdowns after that. That was just he flashed from the day one, man. It was a sad story to see what happened, the way that ended. But if he can come back and then be a part of this 3-peat run, I think if they did sign him, I wonder if they would do some kind of like a press conference. I don't know. I don't know. I think I read somewhere online where they may bring him back on a practice squad. If so, you probably will get a press conference for the practice squad pickup. But nonetheless, I can't wait to see him.
I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you get for a practice squad?
A practice squad press conference, or doing a little jersey, a little hold up, like number 40.
No, I'm saying just a press conference bringing him back. Period. That would just be, and he's going to be on the practice squad trying to get himself prepared. I mean, that's what I would do. Because I know a Joker. I would assume he's not in game shape, like these guys out here right now. So, I talked about people going out there and guys. Some of these running backs might sit around eating Doritos, man. Next thing you know, they call you up, you trying to get the plates off your chest and stomach. I can see him doing that. He does, hello? Yeah. Huh? Oh, cheese, really? Yeah, I'll be here for a second. You just getting chips and pizza out of the way and soda. Like, oh shoot. Man, clean all this up, man. I'm about to go out there to Kansas City. So I'm back, baby. I'm back. So I hope all this works out, Marcus. I do. I hope it all works out. I really do, man. It'd be great to see Kareem Hunt back here. Really.
If you had a bet on it, what do you think the odds are that he does come back? Based on how fast this kind of manifested, the fact that Pacheco gets announced 6 to 8 weeks, he's having surgery on his ankle, then like an hour later, Kareem Hunt's coming in for a visit.
He's the most likely candidate. I would put him probably at 100%. If you're calling him up, you're calling this guy up right now, I think you're serious, right? And you don't do it unless you've weighed all the pushback and everything that you thought of about maybe not even seeing him in the jersey anymore, right? So this comes out immediately. I'm thinking for them, they just want to make sure he's healthy. They're going to give him a baseline about when he needs to get into shape to go out there on the field. I think they're serious. I think they're really serious about this, man. So I see this happening. I see it happening.
Obviously, CH on IR or what was the NFI list? He could come back in 2 weeks, but I mean, with being out with PTSD, it's one of those things that's kind of unforeseen. You don't know when he's going to be ready to come back. And do you think this kind of sheds light where okay, we could get by, by elevating Amani Bailey to the active roster? Do you think this, if they do sign him tomorrow, do this kind of lends a hand that they don't really see CH coming back in the next 2 weeks?
I don't know. Shoot. I think really you got to kind of make moves, just assuming, right? You just got to be prepared. You got to be prepared either way. So I think once you get ahead of things, that's probably your best approach going into it, right? Because if you don't have CEH, and hopefully, like we said, everything's going well with him. If you don't, you definitely want to have a backup plan. So I think it's the most practical thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are surprised. About Time says, I cannot believe Clark is on board for this. Total shocker. A lot of people are surprised by it, but, Clark's a religious guy, second chances.
Well, okay, yeah, exactly. And then not even just religious, but I think we all, at some point, it is about growth. So easy to throw people away. You know how we are on this program with us, man. We talk about grace. We talk about giving grace to people and forgiveness and moving on and getting better, reconciliation. All those things are important. We don't just say them just to be saying them. Hopefully Clark and those guys actually want to live it. And so this will be a great testament to how people should be treated. And so Clark, maybe in his heart, was like, hey, man, look, this guy, we understand he did some things wrong. We have addressed it. He hadn't been here for quite some time. We think that we all got a good understanding of where he is right now. And that's important. That's important that we all understand where we are in this whole process of growth. So I support that 100%, my brother. 100%.
Yeah, and Clark also too. I mean, he also wants to win as well. I mean, he's got a chance for a three-peat this year as well. So, and you want to bring in a guy who's talented and knows the system. So, yeah, that also plays a factor too. And it's also been a long time as well. But 6-7 years now. So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, JD. So now let's get the brass tacks here. It's time for grades. It's time for you to put the teacher hat on, professor hat on, and dig deep for these.
Yeah. So I'll let you. Oh, you start right off the top.
I'm quick with
Is
it, baby. So obviously last week, I thought you were not the hardest on these guys. I thought that some of these guys deserve a higher grade from you last week, but you see things. You're real with it, JD. I don't think you're hard on the guys, but you're real with it. But last week, did you see, before we get into the grades, did you see like any improvements from certain positions that you wanted to see?
Improvements.
Did you see things trend in the right direction?
These are two hard teams. I did see somewhat of an improvement. Absolutely. Seen it in our running backs. Like I said, the running backs were phenomenal this game. Absolutely phenomenal. I think us finding out who we are is an improvement. And what we still need to get better at is an improvement. So we got to take everything and build on it as much as possible, right? Even the bad stuff. And so if part of the improvement is getting to a place where, we're trying to move forward, right? With different guys. Okay. And part of what I did see is some of the personnel, groupings we had for particular things, I started realizing, I'm like, okay, I see how this is kind of going to Tennessee. And also too, how that could work in our favor. So, yeah, I seen some improvement. There was some improvement there. So, let me go ahead and get at it. Okay. So for our fearless leader, PM15, Pat didn't really have a good game. He had a decent game, but he didn't really have a good game. And some of the things that was concerning to me was maybe some of the lack of decisiveness. I think he should have probably had maybe some better decision making, and made things he maybe didn't want to see it, and he wanted to. So people talked about pushing. I think that might have been he wanted to get some things going. So I think Pat should have did a much better job than what he did. I don't think they showed him anything that he hadn't really seen before, but it was really trying to get rid of the football, taking what the defense was giving you. And I don't think he was doing that on some of the plays. Some of the throws might have been underthrown, like the ones he had, like the one interception, underthrown. And I don't necessarily think the one he threw to Worthy that got intercepted was underthrown. I think that might have just been technique-wise on Worthy. Should have did a much better job. Could have they both could have did a much better job. But there was some yards out there, man. He missed. He absolutely missed it. So, with that being said, I gave our fearless leader, Patrick Mahomes, I gave him a C. You got a C grade.
C? Oh, wow. Interesting, JD.
What's that?
I think that's high. I think C's quite high.
I was going to give him a C minus. I think obviously he knows situations. He's the best quarterback in football. Some of the things weren't necessarily his fault. I think maybe some of the plays they ran should have helped him out a little bit more. And some of the coaching staff's got to know that. They got to know those things, right? You got to put players in a position to make plays, okay? And so Pat can only do so much. So sometimes you got to set things up. Look, we talking about his normal magic, right? He didn't have a good game. He didn't have a good game. But I definitely gave him a C. I gave him a C grade. I think, at least he was still trying to get guys to football. So I C minus was where I was going to be at. After talking about it, I think I'm just going to give him a C. I'm going to just be able to see with it, okay? So.
Yeah, that's fair. I think it was one of the worst for me. That was one of the worst games I've seen Pat play. And obviously, it's a team game, So obviously, when your left tackle's getting dominated by a guy the entire time, and you got to get rid of the ball, you're feeling pressure right out the gate. I mean, it's tough. So I mean, like
right.
you could look bad. I mean, obviously, look at the Caleb Williams the Bears game last night. I mean, he couldn't breathe. He couldn't breathe at all. O-line looked like crap, so it made him look like crap. So it's kind of a domino effect, if you will.
He throws 2 touchdowns, right? He gets one to Rashid Rice. Gets one down to throwing it to, at the end to Travis Kelce. He gets called back. So, the holding calls on the offensive line, like you said, some of those things weren't necessarily his fault. So, I'm going to try to be somewhat fair to him. I didn't want to give a C minus. Was like, yeah, he probably earned that too. So I'm just going to give him a C. I'm gonna give him a C though. He probably give himself maybe a D, but so
yeah.
Kareem, aka Joe Delaney, Kareem says Platt flat out stink. I suppose I can forgive him, but Carson Wentz is breathing down his neck. Hey, Carson Wentz needs to stay where he's at right now.
I don't know with the way Andy's pulling his left tackles during the games in the middle of the game. Could he pull Pat and like?
Yeah, burn Kansas City down. That whole spot would be crazy. Heck no, you better not pull Pat for no Carson Wentz.
But apparently, based on his press conference today, it seems like that he's going to go back to Kingsley. So, we've seen it before. Remember last year during the Bears game, I believe, is when he pulled Juwan because Juwan was getting dominated by the alignment penalties, and he put our guy Prince Tagovailoa in there. And then, Juwan was the starting guy the next week. So I guess they have a knack for doing that with the old lineman. I think it's very interesting to do that.
Sometimes, man, when a guy's in your head, you sometimes just feel like you can't get right. You might come over and maybe express something, and coach is like, "Look, we got you, man. Warm up, get another guy in there, and that'll clear you up real quick. Give you bench time. That'll clear some things up. That'll get you going." You're either going to go one or two ways, okay? You ain't going to stay the same. You're either going to get worse or you're going to get better, all right? You get pissed off like Jamar Chase, or you're going to get better. You're going to get back on your game. So you make a decision. They made theirs. So we're going to show you how this looks if you don't get your job done, okay? And Akeem Suma definitely deserved a break.
Yeah.
Definitely. He was the shovel. You could see it visibly in his body language. So I think Andy made a good decision.
Yeah. I'm curious to see. Well, we'll get to the O-line in a second. I'm curious to see where you grade them. But JD, we talked about Kareem Hunt coming to the running back room. But this is, I guess, the Chiefs' RB room before Kareem Hunt comes back to Kansas City.
Yeah. So this right here, running back grade, we talked about Pacheco. Pacheco just played a masterful game in the things he was doing. Running hard. He had one hell of a game. He did. And those are the type of games I love to see him have. When he showed what he can do, that's why he needs to be fed the ball more than that, okay? Now, Carson Steele, when he came in, did a good job. Now, he had the fumble. He did have the fumble. And also, too, the backs, Carson Steele still knows he needs to learn how to chip and go out. I think Pacheco missed on the chip to help Suma out as well. They need to do a much better job of giving presence there. So even if you don't see a guy, you still got to give that tackle some presence and try to capture that defensive end. Hendrickson was just eating about everybody's lunch, man. Eating everybody's lunch. And so Uh, it was a hard thing to see. But our backs ran hard. So I do commend them for that. And so what they did, Pacheco, I think, is the one that kind of got it up here, probably higher for everybody else, comprising of the group. So I gave the running backs, I gave them a B-.
Why do you think we didn't see much of Piron yesterday?
Good question. I have no idea. That to me is a head scratcher. And the only time you bring him in is almost like when, Pacheco was actually going out, getting hurt, or if he was really gassed. I think Piron might have been a guy that could really help us out, man. So, Mike, me and you on the same page, brother. I was extremely wrong about Piron being used in this game too. But I gave him a B-. And I think Piron should have been used more in this game, man. I think he should have been used more in this game.
Well, we'll probably be seeing a healthy dose of him in these next 6 to 8 weeks with Pacheco being out. All right. So now the wide receivers.
Wide receivers. So the wide receivers did a decent job. They got down and did some blocking. Rashid Rice, caught some good balls. Scored a touchdown. Worthy got a couple little reverses. Kind of a catch here. Justin Watson kind of showed up. I mean, other than that, man, you didn't really see too much of anybody else. That was it. Pat only had, 25 attempts? So, I mean, when the game looks like something like that, man, you ain't going to get a whole lot of work, man, at wide receiver. It's just kind of what it is. But there were some things guys could have done better, for sure. One of the things I was talking about, that interception that Patrick had thrown to Worthy, going to Worthy, Worthy could have did a much better job. And so when you see Rashid Rice, when you watch his release, it is night and day from Xavier Worthy. And that's just because he's a young guy. He's still got to learn those things. But Rashid Rice ran right by, what's the name, whoever the corner is. He ran right by him. He didn't even have a shot, put his hands on him. But when he came up against the rookie, which he was talking about, once you get hands on him, you get physical, then you saw what happened. You could see the difference. And so that's when I was talking about getting your real estate back. That means, you got to be able to get grass and space from the sideline to catching the football. That's when I say get your real estate back. That's what I mean when I say that. Okay. Xavier Worthy started, when he ran his route, he ran his from the numbers, and he almost got pushed out of bounds. That should never happen. You see how our guy, Trent McDuffie, did Jamar Chase the same way. Beautifully done. Beautifully done. They throw a flag on McDuffie, and Jamar Chase pulled him down. It's because he played him too well. That was a hell of a job by McDuffie. One hell of a job. That's exactly how it's supposed to be done as a corner. Okay? Textbook. Absolute textbook. So, other than that, man, the guys, they did a decent job. As far as wide receiver. I can't think of anything that comes up that's glaring other than the interception, Rice scoring the touchdown, guys kind of getting their hands on the ball. So I gave these guys, because I think some of the blocking probably should have been a little bit better. I gave these guys a B. I gave them a B.
Yeah. I mean, he only threw it to only three wide receivers had catches in this game. Rice, Watson, and Worthy.
Yeah, they didn't hurt us. They didn't do anything to hurt us. When Moore came in and Harvin came in, and they blocked. Juju came in, they blocked. They did a decent job blocking. And so I did observe that. And they did a damn good job of doing it. So
there was that one play towards the end of the game where Juju just threw off Wilson. And I thought, man, it's so effortless. Freaking Juju just threw that dude out of there. He
jumped a little bit. He tried to get a call. That's what he did.
Okay. I was like, Juju, he's got a little straight there, buddy.
Yeah.
The guy out of the weight room.
Yeah. So yeah, those guys, and I will have to say also too, these guys get a B, but that's because sometimes Pat wasn't getting the ball to him like he should have.
Yeah.
Missing him. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now we're going to JD's favorite room, his tight ends.
Tight ends for the game. Obviously Travis didn't get a whole lot of catches. He was getting double teamed. He was getting bracketed. They was going to make sure that this guy, Travis Kelce, was not going to beat him. They were hell-bent on that. And when I was watching them, how they were talking, every time he'd go in motion, anything they were doing, set a defense on him, they made sure they communicated all around Travis, okay, which they should. So it's not saying that Travis wasn't getting open. Travis is open a few times. You start looking at it, I'm like, well, there's a ball there. There's a ball there. The one he had, he threw the touchdown to Rice, Travis was open. So he could have picked his druthers on that. Travis did a good job blocking. Noah Gray did a somewhat decent job of blocking. Jared Wiley did a decent job. But I think everything was just kind of so-so for those guys in that day. But somehow we just got to be able to make a way, man. Got to make a way. So I gave my tight ends, man. I gave them a C+. I gave my tight ends.
Wow. Okay. Let me ask you something, JD. There's the play that everyone's kind of talking about. I've seen it a lot, share on Twitter today, and I remember during the game last night. It was that route, like right on the goal line area, where I think Kelce's running a slant, it looks like, and Mahomes just throws it in the dirt.
Yeah, he runs kind of like almost like a wheel route. Not a wheel, a pivot. Like it's almost like a pivot or arrow route. Okay. That's what we would call it. But Pat probably could have got that ball to him. I don't know if it just slipped out of his hand or he seen the dude flash at the very bit of it. But that's where they was running like this kind of triangle on Travis. And you can see it. You seen how they ran the defense because it's 4-on-2. It's 4 defenders on two guys. And they weren't worried about the other wide receiver. They were worried about Travis. Travis had really 3 guys on him. So that's how they kind of made sure. That's what I was talking about. They were talking with Travis when in motion. Here he comes in motion. I see he said Travis is on this side. So you have more of your defenders against 2 guys as opposed to, maybe 2 against 3 receivers. Well, I think 3 or 3, whatever it was. But they made sure that Travis Kelce wasn't going to beat you. And so when he did run that little like pivot route, Patrick probably could have squeezed it in. He could have threw it to him when he came out of his break, ball just being right there. And I think he probably could have squeezed it in if he just let it fly. Romo said Pat threw it into the ground. It looked like he slipped out, but I think he might have seen the guy at the corner of his eye. But I don't know. I think he probably could have gotten it in there. I think it slipped out of his hand, I think. Because Travis was sitting there like, man, what was that? In a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that whole thing was weird. It was weird. When Romo said he threw in the dirt on purpose, I've seen Mike say that. Didn't make much sense. I mean, it could have slipped out, but I don't know. If you're dirting something, you're not gonna throw it the way he threw it. I mean, that wasn't a dirt. It didn't look like he was dirting that ball like the way Romo said he did it. That he did it on purpose. So,
yeah, Romo's just taking from his vantage point. Like when they did a replay on TV, it might have looked like, what's that job? He said he lost his grip. Yeah, so I think that might have been what it was. He just didn't really squeeze it like he needed to. So,
yeah. Oh, so C+. Very surprised by the C+ there, JD. I thought this is like your favorite group. If you had a group of students in the room, this is like the group that you're always a big fan of. And they always get they get away with the assignments all.
Yeah, teacher's pet, man. But C+, man, they could have did a much better job in blocking. I think Travis did a good job. Travis did a much better job blocking. I think, than the other tight ends. So, uh,
What are you
yeah,
seeing from Wiley 2 weeks in? I know he almost had one of the few drops of the game where he caught that ball and the ball went up in the air and he grabbed it, brought it back down. What do you make of Wiley the first 2 weeks?
I mean, he's a young guy, man. He's just trying to fight to get some playing time right now. So, I don't know. I think his time ain't right now. He can run 12 and 13 personnel, and he's a good guy to go to. We know he'll catch the football, but they're still trying to work all these things out to who's going to be who for the entire things. What's up, all Chief stuff, man? Good seeing you, my brother. Good seeing you.
Appreciate the contribution, guys, and perfect timing for our Williams brothers to come in here and to say this, because right now we're going to the O-line, and I'm not trying to knock on Kingsley, but this was the story of the game, was Hendrickson having his way with Kingsley. That's why I went with this still image, because I think it said so much about our offensive line play yesterday. But JD, what grade do you give these guys? And looking at all Chief sub comments here, don't give up on the young fella, let him develop. Thoughts?
So offensive line did a good job blocking, getting Pacheco some yards. I think they did a tremendous job. The older guys, I'll say older guys, okay. I think they realized what they had to go against. They were getting some push from Hill and those guys before Hill went out. Tall task, but they did okay. They did all right. There was times that they was giving up pressure. There was times, Pat bounced out. Maybe he didn't need to. Sometimes he bounced out too early. I think they did a decent job. Keem Suma had his hands full. Had his hands full all night. We knew it going into it that his hands was going to be full. But one of the best defensive ends in the game today. And so they probably shouldn't have left him out on the island like they did. It's almost in a sense kind of set him up. But when he starts eating his lunch, they said, look, let's give him some help. But he ran into a buzzsaw. He ran into a whole different player. Somebody he hadn't really seen in camp. Somebody he hadn't really seen, the first game of the season. He ran into the real deal. And so he's going to find that out with some of these other teams that he's going to play, with the Chargers, with the Raiders, with San Fran, New Orleans, Atlanta. He's going to see some other guys. Okay, so this is the NFL. And so when it's the NFL, your game has to be tight. You got to be ready. And it's not for the faint of heart. It's not for someone who folds up easy. You have to have a resiliency when you play in this league. And so yesterday, he had a hard time. He had a hard time. And like I said, he was visibly shaken and almost taken out today of the game, to the point that Reed removed him. Now, will that get him confidence? I think so. When you see him talk about how he's going to work to get better, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. When he expresses some of the things that he didn't do well, we've seen it. And so me being an O-line coach, playing tight end, understand these things, he can learn a lot from here. He can learn a lot from here. But he had a hard time yesterday, really hard time. Said felt like he held his own until late, and his stamina caused him to drop his arms and let Henderson get into his chest. I think it started from the top, from the very, very beginning. I think after the first quarter, man, he realized he had his hands full. When we got down there, all chiefed up, when we got down there to the goal line, you see he had some missed assignments. One of the things we probably could have scored if he was right there in Tooney's hip pocket. One time he goes in and he's supposed to block the defensive tackle, supposed to come down on it, and he doesn't. He comes back out, and Travis Kelce's right there. That's a missed assignment. It's another touchdown. Hit Pacheco in the backfield. And then when Hendrickson started to get into his bag, second quarter, he realized then he's just going to start taking it to him. I think that's when Hendrickson started. And they gave him some of those holds getting around his neck, man. But you when you talking about Hendrickson's a different animal. I want everybody to understand, okay? He's not an easy guy to go against. Okay, he's one of the premier defensive ends in the league, right? So that's important for the context to understand. Okay, so you have a rookie tackle, left tackle coming in here blocking one of the better defensive ends in the league. So I would have went in the game knowing I'm giving him help, knowing I'm double teaming Hendrickson. And so backs are trying to get Henderson at times, and Hendrickson's just a monster. He's going to keep coming. That's who he is. That's who he is, man. So I think missed assignments, the level of difficulty he's going against with Henderson, you know it's going to be a hard game. And so I think when Andy decided to pull him out, it was probably one of the better things for him. Okay. And sometimes you just got to do it like, hey, man, look, we got to get you back together. Sometimes guys got to get their minds back together. I've seen it before. Sometimes you just got to do that. And Andy did a good job. Because now you're just like, okay, it's not going to hurt his confidence. I don't think it hurts his confidence. I don't think so. When you do an evaluation of a guy, you know how he responds and how he's going to respond to something like that. I think King Suma's going to come back better than what he was yesterday. So with that being said, all the things I was talking about, we had some holding calls as well on those things. I gave our O-line a C. These guys got a C.
When they're not getting help by tight ends and P. Ryan, I mean, why do you think they weren't giving him the help on the side there? Because he had 17 and a half sacks last year. And we know we've gone against Hendrickson. Hendrickson's the real deal. We know that. And to not give him that, why do you think the decision was behind that? If you had to make a guess?
You got trust in the guy. King Suma's he's athletic. We know we got an athletic guy, and they trust him. Going into it, I trust him too. But also too, you got to know, I trust this guy, but I also know who he's going against, and so we better be prepared. And I think when I see some of the running backs try to go out there and try to chicken wing and try to hit him in his side, Hendrickson would kind of hide. He knew he was going to get chipped. Look, he's a wily guy. He knows what's going on. He understands that. So he's a guy that you got to beat up every single time into submission, and he's not going to submit. He's not going to do it. So the greatest scenario he could have possibly had is, if I get this guy one-on-one, I'm going to win the day. He almost single-handedly, they was talking about it, single-handedly almost took us out off the things he was doing pressure-wise. He was relentless coming after Patrick Mahomes. Relentless. So he understood what the assignment was going to be. He didn't care. When you have guys like that, he's a hard dude to deal with. He's a hard dude to deal with. So my thing is, you got to go into the game knowing that. Tight ends try to help. They did chip. They try to do the things. The Bengals was hoping that the four is going to be able to hit home. They was hoping for that. That's what they was hoping for. They even made a point when Hendrickson seen Rashid Rice kind of in that nasty look, okay, where he's only like a few yards outside. He lined up to hit Rashid Rice so he couldn't get into his route. and then go rush. It's high level football play.
Yeah, that dude's a problem.
I'll tell you what, he's one of the guys that they want to get paid, right?
Yeah.
I tell you, they let that sucker go, boy. They.
Do you say we see we can kind of gather all our nickels and pennies and try to try to throw an offer at the guy?
I don't know, man. He's gonna ask high dollar for it.
Yep,
he's worth every penny.
He is.
So,
yeah. All right, so now we're gonna go to our side of the ball, our D line.
Oh, Chief Duff said I wasn't gonna say yet, but hey, with the problems going on right now, shoot, you might be right. I agree with you. You got a disgruntled employee who's not coming back, and Chase is like, I don't care how much money you're trying to give me. I don't think Chase won't be there no more.
Yeah.
So that's me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Henderson's coming to work and putting on his hard hat and doing the dirty work, and he knows he'll get paid in the offseason, but Chase is coming to work, but he's pretty pissed off. He's letting the whole world know he's upset.
Hey man, they start throwing those wide receivers too. So.
Yeah. All right, JD. So now we're gonna go to our D line. We don't have Henderson, but we got some guys over there. We got the Chris Jones of the world. We got Mike Dana, who stepped up yesterday.
Yeah. I tell you, defense. Some highs and lows during the game. Okay. They scored a lot more points than I thought they were, to be honest with you. Especially only having one Jamar Chase and nobody else really. You got some guys that no names. I don't say no names. I don't say that. Guys that obviously are not high caliber guys you would think, right? You would think you're going in, you're going to single-handedly. Once you get Jamar Chase done and covered, then you should be able to win the game. Mike Gesicki came out and he started balling out. And the wide receivers started balling out. We started seeing some things. We started seeing some of the running backs getting yards. Our defensive linemen, there was times they get pressure. Some other times not. Guys that went named Chris Jones, that were getting singled up, wasn't getting the job done. It wasn't getting the job done. I like Warrington sometime, man. He comes in, he's scrappy. I like his attitude. I just like because he's a smaller size guy. He's scrappy. I like scrappy attitudes. I like Mike Dana's scrappy attitude. I like his attitude, okay? These guys know they're undersized and they can get scrappy, okay? George Kalafdis, scrappy at times. Other times he disappeared, just swallowed up by the tackle. And it seemed like that relentless thing, I didn't see as much as that from George like I wanted. Sometimes the defensive tackle was out of position. Nick Bolton was yelling at those jokers all day, not being in the right gap or getting double teamed. Like, hey, man, keep these guys off of me. And that's where they were being successful running down the throat. So when they got pressure, it was always the time when coverage broke down. Yeah. And it just didn't click. It wasn't anything that was consistent. Chris would get in sometimes. But sometimes, Chris trying to make a play might put himself out of position. And same thing, I see these guys talking. I see them talking. And when I start seeing linebackers start getting on defensive tackle, he ain't happy. He ain't a happy camper. Nick Bolton wasn't a happy camper yesterday. Okay? What? So it needs to be a much better job, man. Defensive tackles. They had too many running yards from me, sustaining things, and giving Joe Burrow time to throw the football. Some of those touchdowns came from all the lack of pressure that we didn't generate. one being down in the red zone, that one where Ilyavasi or whatever his name is. Heck, like I said, Joe Burrow was sitting back there, man. He combed his hair, tied his shoe. They gave him about 7 seconds to throw the football. It's hard. It's hard to cover a man for that long. It's hard. It's tough. It's tough to do. So there were some times that flashes. I was like, okay, there we go. We see some things. There were some times it just disappeared, man. So I gave defensive line. I gave him a C-.
Wow. Do you agree? Because I think Mike Brand said I thought they did a pretty good job shutting down the run game. I thought they did a good. You don't think so?
No, at some points, sometimes they did some, but when they started really like running in, and then they could throw behind our linebackers and safeties, and you get the ball out. And Joe was getting the ball out of his hand pretty quick. At least for me, my estimation, what I was seeing, I wasn't happy with it. I was almost frustrated, like when I was seeing the linebackers be frustrated. And so when you got one guy on you, man, you got to win. You got to shed. I don't see what I'm not seeing is the shedding. You got to shed, man. Shed off and come make a tackle. Make a play. That's what you do. I don't see any shedding, man. I'm seeing some of the guys on our defensive line getting bullied. Okay. I'm not going to say no names, but need to see a little bit more toughness, some grittiness, some griminess, some dirtiness. That's what I need to see. And so Chris shows up. He's showing up, getting double teamed and stuff like that. But then they hold Moss to 50 yards. He shouldn't have got that. Moss is a back catching the ball out the backfield. So he got 50 yards, but the time he was sustaining drives. And this is my estimation. So it goes from just stopping the run. 50 yards is one thing, right? Hard yards, same like Pacheco was getting hard yards. Pacheco didn't have, how many yards did Pacheco have? I don't even know.
90, I believe.
90, so that's some hard sledding that Pacheco was doing. So I don't know how many, as far as I didn't look at I ain't got the stats in front of me. How many rushes Moss had, Brown had to Pacheco and stealing and stuff. We had more rushes than they did.
Zach Moss, 12 carries for 34 yards, so about 2.5 yards a carry. And then Chase Brown, 4 carries, 31 yards.
Okay. So they're 4 for 31, that shows you. So Moss had a little bit. So what is that? That's 81 yards, I think, something like that. I'm looking at
65 collectively between the two of them.
Okay. So I just, for me, I needed to see a little bit more. I just needed to see a little bit more. So,
all right.
And these guys got more in them. I know they got more in them. They got more in them. I need to see when I'm talking about that shedding and getting the things off. You got it, man. You got to show that from defensive tackle. When I look at defensive tackle from the other side against our line, it was a difference.
Yeah, especially when you have Chris Jones, who is demanding such attention. Like you got to be able to be the one-on-one. You got to be able to do some work there. I mean, like not every D line is going to have a guy who's going to swallow up 2 or 3 guys every time. You got to be able to beat your one-on-one. You've been saying that for years.
You have to, man. Defensive line is all about violence. You got to be violent. When you in the trenches, you have to be a violent player, a violent person out there. You have to. I mean, it's hand-to-hand combat, man. It's throwing, tossing. I mean, it's everything. I mean, seriously, you got to play dirty. You got to jump over the pile. I mean, you got to hit. I mean, every possible thing you could throw at a person, you got to throw at them. I mean, it is. I mean, it is a fight. It is a fight in the trenches. Absolute fight. So, and I got to see the pressures on them. We can't let Joe Burrow sit back and just pick us apart. Can't let that happen. And we started letting that happen, and he did it. So,
yeah.
So that's why I gave him a C-. I don't want to give him nothing less than that. Could I be a little bit more for SAC? Maybe. Maybe. Because we got a couple of sacks, and I like that. We failed into a couple of sacks.
Yeah, I feel like when it got closer to the end zone, we looked better, but that's like the bend but don't break crap, man. It's like we're still getting 3 points, at the end of that. Like, yeah, we're bearing our backs when we get down to the red zone, but so we get field goals, man. They were getting drives all the way down there, and yeah, and like this play right here, where Dana, right, I think that was actually the drive where they scored a touchdown on the fourth and goal. On that third down play, I think they tried doing a stretch play there. Dana freaking held the line big time. It was huge. But then, they score a touchdown on the next play. But it's not all the D-line. But, yeah, I mean.
It's all D-line, man. But everybody work in sync and in unison. That's how that works, especially on the defensive line to the linebackers. Everybody's got to work in unison on those things, man. So it's so imperative. So imperative, especially for a game like this. So that's why I say, I didn't expect them to score that many points.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, brother. Now we're going to the linebacker grade. And your guy, Nick Bolton, who you had his back big time through and through last week.
Mm-hmm. I did. And rightfully so. And I said, Nick Bolton's going to get this thing fixed. I had faith in him. I had faith in he was going to get it fixed. And so, much better game by him. Everybody was looking at one of Yahoos on Twitter was sitting there saying, "Oh, Nick Bolton's not elite, this and that, blah, blah, blah. He couldn't even stop him on 3rd and 1 of Joe Burrow." I'm like, did you see the guy come up and push him? Do you see Nick Bolton hitting the receiver first and then having to fall off to come get him? Like, that should have been stopped at the line of scrimmage. That's what I'm talking about, fighting in the trenches. He's getting fullback leads on him the whole day, or tight end leads on Nick. He hated it. He was like, what's going on? And you see him start talking to guys like, hey, man, you got to be over here. Well, you got to shed. He talking to the linebacker, man, you got to fall into this gap. It's gap responsibility. We know this. And so when you get to that point, you got to be able to hold your gap down. You got to. So linebacker-wise, Chanel hit Joe Burrow down there. Tranquil did a pretty good job tackling. The guys that was getting killed by the tight ends weren't the linebackers. It was the safeties. It was the safeties that was getting killed. It wasn't the linebackers. Now Nick had one where they ran like the scissor route. Okay, the scissor route, right? That's the one that you run kind of the post. You run the corner and the safety out of there, and you got that deep out by that tight end. It's a hard route to cover. So I think it was cover 3 when they ran that, or cover 4, they would look. But Nick had to get out there to get off. That's hard for any linebacker. If I'm running that route and you run that safety out of there in that corner, I'm gonna win all day. I ain't gonna let no linebacker beat me on that. This is me as a tight end. I got an out route, 7 route, deep out. That's mine. That's my rock. That's my ball. And a tight end salivating. Because you know why? Because you got a linebacker who's on the inside of you, and you got all the space on the outside. Joe Burrow put it right there where he's supposed to. So, Drew missed some tackles. But he got it back together. So those dudes, Mike Gesicki is a tough cover for any corner or linebacker. He's just a tall slot. That's all he is. I said it, man. He's a wide receiver playing tight end. That's who Mike Gesicki is. He ain't gonna crush a grape. He ain't gonna touch nobody. He ain't gonna block a soul. I promise you that. Okay. Nothing against Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki will tell you that. Yeah, it ain't what they don't appoint me for those things. Okay, they don't. All right. They tell me to run down here and catch footballs. That's it. He understands his role.
That's why they have Eric Hall and Drew Sample, so he can do it.
No, right. That's why they have those guys. Okay. So he's a tough cover. No doubt about it. So for the linebackers, those grades, give him a B-.
All right. I gotta agree with that. I think they got a lot of slander online for no reason yesterday.
A lot of slander, but they was thinking, oh, the tight ends catching the ball. Joe Burrow has thrown for 113 yards the first quarter against. It wasn't against the linebackers. Now linebackers were covering them. Nick did a good job tackling. Drew missed the tackle, but they, when they catch him, because they're throwing him out to the flat, they throw him right there in the seam when you run cover three. They knew how to attack. They started doing the stack look. You're trying to run man. You got to roam around in the middle. They did a decent job, the linebackers did, for what they had to.
Yeah, I agree.
Trey L's on it. Absolutely, Trey. Linebacker room did good. Just need the pressure up front. Man, that's all he's calling for.
Yep.
He's calling for that. Go back and watch the game, and you'll see Nick say, man, what is going on? What are y'all doing? Get these guys off of me. A good D-line keeps the linemen from going up to the second level. That's their job. Shed, get rid of them, get in the gap, take two. That's what you're trying to do. So, should do more of that.
All right, so now we're going to go to the DBs. This is probably one of my favorite photos of the game yesterday, was seeing this whole thing. I mean, so much being said in this photo right here.
Yeah. So, go to the DBs. Trent McDuffie was phenomenal. The play that he made down in the end zone against Jamar Chase, that's high level. That's high level play, man. He's one of the best corners in the league. I mean, seriously, it is like technique, sound, a lot of confidence in his ability. Incredible, absolutely incredible. The one that he pushed Jamar Chase out of bounds, right? He does it textbook. That Jamar Chase had to grab him by his shoulder pad and pull him down, and he got the call because he covered him too good. He covered him too good. So, Trent McDuffie, man, he man, ice cold. He did, man. McDuff, the crime dog. That's what you call him, right? That's what true, and that's what he was. He was locking everybody up, knocking them all down. Did a hell of a job. When he's clean, man, that boy is clean. He is clean. Now everybody else, that's a different story. Joe Burrow was looking at the matchups. That whoever was the other corner, that's who I'm going to. That's where I'm going. And they decided to try every other corner that came in the game. They went after Jalen Watson first. If they got a piece of him, they got Joshua Williams next. Took a little bite out of him, and they went after our boy Najee. And they just started taking bites. They were taking shots at him, taking turns, and that was the game plan. And these guys that wide receivers, that wasn't Jamar Chase, had a good game. And if the wide receiver didn't have a good game, the dude, what's his name, the one that came from Alabama, the one that caught the deep ball?
Oh, Burton,
we scored a touchdown with Wanye Morris, and we get one just straight up about a 60-yarder. Just outran. Didn't put a finger on him to slow him down. Didn't pinch him. Nothing. Got to do a much better job. And I think these guys will do a much better job after seeing this game. Okay? They didn't play very well. Our safeties. Jamari Connor did a good job. Okay? Did a good job. Cook was where he was supposed to be, solid in some of the things he did. But Justin was getting beat. Jamari got beat. The tight ends was taking their turns on our safeties. They was taking our turn. And so, for the whole group, the whole group, I'm going to be generous with these guys. Okay? Because Trent McDuffie puts it up here.
He does.
Okay? He levels everything out. I'm going to give these guys a C.
Wow. So that tells you how much he boosted it.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of that is where you want to get pressure up front. But I'm telling you, our corners need to do a much better job. If you're going to be the other guy, out there, you need to step your game up. It's just that bottom line. That's how it works. Okay? That's how it works. Kind of did the scoop and score. Yep.
That's the sack that he had.
Yeah. And these are everybody else that did not named Jamar Chase.
Yep.
There was another guy out there. Shoot.
Yeah. Well, also too, I think the fact that, top of the D line, the fact that this game was as close as it was, and we did shut down, and their run game really was kind of non-existent. Well, it's very telling for the fact the game was that close without really having that, that element of Pacheco who can pop off. They didn't really have that.
Well, yeah, but they didn't have to go there. They could just throw the football.
Exactly.
When you throw for 113 yards to the tight ends the first half, I mean, shoot, why run the football?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Scary, actually.
Yeah. And then when they did run the ball, they was getting yards running the football. So
Yep.
I think that's the indication of like, hey, man, look, we can throw the ball down the field against these guys. And they did. They did. That sucker, what's his name? Yavesi, whatever his name is.
Uh-huh.
Yavase or whatever, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had 2 tubs, didn't he?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. Did the one twinkle toes over on the sideline. Okay. And he did the one little flip around because Joe Burrow had 7 seconds to throw the football
Yeah.
in the back of the end zone. And that ain't the corner's fault, man. The corner's just.
Yeah. 2 for 7 and 2 touchdowns, JD. 2 catches, 7 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. Tough.
Unreal. All right. So then final grade, JD, special teams grade, the hero of the day yesterday.
All phases of the game was good except our punt return. We didn't do a good job getting any returns on our. We should have. We had room to run. We needed more yards than what we got. Okay, let me just be honest. All right, as a special teams coach, we need to get more yards than just what we had. Period. Point blank. But Buckner, is solid as ever. The sucker with the big thighs is kicking the ball, the leg that's booting the ball to the moon. Ariza, that joker, we know he's a real deal. Those guys are phenomenal. They did a great job. And so with that, I'm going to give these guys a B. Okay? They got a B. We did a good job covering. Chamari Conlon went down and got a tackle. So I'll give these guys a B. But we need better on our return. Our return game needs to be better than what it is. Okay? That's a little disappointing for me. All right? Especially when you got room to run. Okay? McCole needs to do more with that, man. McCole, my brother, you do much better than that. Right? So
you go. All in all, lots of room for improvement. Lots of room for improvement for pretty much the entire team. Which I was kind of figuring that. But yeah, luckily amongst it, if you didn't tell me what the outcome of the game was, and I just heard those grades, JD, I would think we lost the game. But luckily we pulled out a W and we're 2-0 despite all these low grades in the classroom today.
Well, it just shows you how what it says, like Chase McDaniel was saying, how much better we are than other teams. We just got good chemistry. We're a very good team. I'm a little disappointed for me, I get Buckner saves the game. Okay. But we shouldn't have to put it on Buckner. Toward the end of the game, I don't understand why we weren't trying to go down there and score more. Okay. We just didn't do it. And it's a little disappointing, at least for me, like looking at that, like, man, come on, man. We should be trying to go score. I get in the position to kick the field goal. He should have had like a 40-something yarder. He shouldn't have had to be a 53. We want him to go out there and do something, exceptional. So, 53 is not a chip shot. We just happen to have the best kicker in the game, getting the best money. So we'll regroup, man. We're going to learn from this game. We're going to learn from it, okay? And that's a good place to be. Sometimes you need games like this where you barely escape and you know you didn't play your best. You had 3 turnovers or whatnot, and you should have lost. Maybe you shouldn't have came out this game on top, right? But we're going to be better for it. I think the grades I gave was a good reflection of what we've seen. Some B's there. Nobody got no A's. B, B minus, B minus, B, C, C, C minus, C plus. So that was where our game was. That's where we were. So how Coach, I told you, Coach Mill don't like kickers. Yeah, he don't never want to put on the kicker. I don't care how good he is. Yeah, he don't trust him. He don't want to put it on him.
Mm-mm.
Okay,
that's saying a lot from a former special teams coach.
Absolutely. Because too much can happen there. Bad snap, hole's not good. The wind starts blowing. Anything happens right at that moment. You want to put it in the hand of Patrick Mahomes and those guys. Those guys right there should have closed it out. That's because they are good enough to do that. That's the demand they have. And I know they feel that way. So I'm not saying anything that is, contentious. I think that's what they believe.
Yeah.
So, Mark, what I wanted to do, actually, I know we I don't know if you have my tweet I sent there. I sent the tweet out.
Let me put it up.
Yeah, do you have it?
I'm going to Twitter right now.
Okay.
This is from yesterday.
Today. I sent this out today.
Okay, yeah, I got it. The really long one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Coming
up right now.
So I'll read it. If people haven't seen it, I'll read it real quick. Okay, and I just give you my thoughts on it, on some of it. Don't tweet, Newt. That's all right. I'm gonna read one to you. Okay, so you can listen. So I know it's a little hard to hear, but I'll read it. So I said, "Wow, Chiefs pulled it out yesterday, as expected. But it's hard to tell, though, especially for some of the Kingdom fan base. There are quite a few insufferable, foolish, and idiotic, supposedly diehard Chiefs fans out here. If you're not that person, this is not for you. But a hit dog will holler, and hold on because this is going to be a long rant." I said, these folks talking about these supposed diehard Chiefs fans hate just about every decision for the Chiefs. They can't ever celebrate a guy and give him his flowers, but constantly say that one player sucks. They question and hate just about every Veach and Andy decision, even though they've been the beneficiary of 4 trips, 3 Super Bowl wins, and knocking on the door to a historical three-peat from those very same decisions. Now, people can be critical. That's not the problem. But some jokers are just flat out ignorant with all their mess. People, please just try to enjoy the game. Even when it's filled with suspense and anxiety-filled play, those are the great moments. That's the draw. I truly feel sorry for the people who don't watch football, and I have deep pity for the ones that watch and can't enjoy the game. Relax. It's supposed to be a good time. But if you immediately run to this platform to knock a player, then you might need to seek some type of help. You're too invested, and Veach and Andy ain't taking your suggestions. So just chill. Look, don't be one of those insulting, always negative, berating, insufferable fools. Life is much better, more delectable without being that guy. But sadly, we already know that fools can't help it. You'll see. Some might take this as offensive or personal and slide into this comment section. That's okay. That's light work. The real fans that love your Chiefs enjoy the rest of the season, Chiefs Kingdom. This 8-year veteran Chiefs player, co-host of Chief Concerns, personally welcomes it all. Let's go, Chiefs. Get those pads popping. It's from your boy, JD, man. And for the life of me, as a player and as a fan, I want to get to enjoy my Chiefs. I want to get to enjoy my football. Playing for it, actually having sweat equity, putting your life on the line, having a full investment into it. I know how it feels to me being out there on the field. And for some of these yahoos to get out here and spit so much venom and poison when you're winning, the Chiefs are a good team. We're winning. We're looking for a three-peat, Marcus. We have one of the best organizations, the best teams in football. Now, historically, probably, this run, one of the best ever. And I see so many negative comments that you almost think that we're a losing team, man. It's almost like we're like the most negative winningest team ever. The fans that I've seen, okay? And obviously it's not everybody. It's not. We understand that, okay? So don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that at all. There are some voices out here that come out here with this craziness that is just insane to me. Absolutely insane. And I understand it because I have so much of a understanding and a gratitude and a love for my players because I've been inside and in those trenches. I know what it feels like. The times I would come out, and I'm talking about my back hurting, not being able to sleep for an hour, like the drugs you had to take to just go out there and play, the pain and the hurt that it takes after the game, like mentally what it weighs on you. Like losing the game and going through the stresses of it. I mean, it's tough. And I loved it. I loved every bit of it. But to see how some people just drag people into the mud and the ground, man. Like you can't even celebrate a guy. One's on your team. And I'm not saying you can't be critical. Okay? Nobody's above criticism, right? But have some context to it. I'll be critical. Y'all just see my grades. I'll talk about these guys. But guess what? I'm the first one to be like this with them. I'm going to be the first one to hold them up. I'll be the first one doing it. Because I know they're going to be able to get it better. I know they're going to be able to get it right. I'll be the first one to put my arm around a King Suma. Okay? And say, you better than that. I know you are. Okay? I got your back. Don't worry about it. JD, I got your back. I know how it feels to be right there. That team atmosphere is something that the guys that within that building, they understand it. Because they understand that sometimes when you go out here in this world, you see these things out here, heck, some of the fans are turning faster than anybody else. When you do something right, oh man, you didn't score enough points. So you didn't do this for me, you didn't do it, man. It's craziness. Absolute craziness. Look, you could talk about your team if you love them, okay? You hope nobody else talks about them. But some of this mudslinging and just, the Veach and Andy and get rid of them, fire them, and all talking about guys, it's just, to me, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And if you want to be that joker who comes in, and I've seen certain ones come in and just comment on different people who are optimistic about the Chiefs and know they had a rough time, okay, that are supporting them, and you just want to be that guy. But, man, you need to kick rocks. I don't want to hear from you when the Chiefs win because you're on the fence. No, we don't need nobody riding the fence, Marcus. We don't need that. We don't need no fence riders. And so when you hear these suckers come out doing all of those silliness, man, it just boggles me. It does. It boggles me and it bothers me more so than anything else. Support your boys. Support your Chiefs all the way. Be critical. Boo when they do something right, man. Hey, but after that, y'all start going the other way with the negativeness. Ain't the way to be. Do you all you want to, but I'm here to say I'm gonna call it out, man. It ain't all good with me. All right, I don't mind saying those things. I don't mind. I don't mind calling you out because you could be a fair weather fan. I think I called a fair weather fan and stuff like that. People can do those things, but hey, man, look, I'm gonna pick you up. I'm gonna pick our guys up. Rough time at it. They lose a game, I ain't gonna kick them when they down. I ain't gonna throw dirt on them. I ain't gonna say these guys are garbage and trash, man. They just got to get it right, okay? Like we all do. Hopefully, we're all trying to improve in our lives, right, Marcus? Whatever it is that we do, whatever occupation you have, whatever position that you're in, whatever responsibility that you do, hopefully we take it and we understand how important it is. And we support one another while we're doing it. Some of this stuff to me, man, this inflammatory stuff that's out here, man, is just crazy. Absolutely crazy. And I'm telling you, like you said, I ain't just talking about the gays, man. You look at Twitter and stuff, you might have thought we lost. We got beat by 30.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You go for Chiefs. They didn't lose. No, they didn't. But, man, go forever. Brother, you might have thought we were done. Turn in your cleats. Fire Andy and Beach. Let them all go. So
yeah, it was a mess yesterday. I mean, I get to a certain extent, JD. We're like, for example, from our Twitter account, I'll tweet out like during the game, like, "Oh man, we're getting eaten alive by tight ends," and another week of getting eaten alive by tight ends. That's constructive talk. I'm not saying, "Oh, cut Bolden right now. That guy stinks. Get him out of here. Get him out of town. I'll pack his bags for him." You do see a lot of stuff like that. When that's not the stuff you're talking. You're not talking about like, calling it out like, "Oh man, running backs are killing us. Tight ends are killing us." You're talking about the stuff where guys are like going at person, like, "Get the guy out of my town. I don't want this guy on my team anymore." That kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. I mean, look, a guy gets beat. Guy's going to get beat. It happens in the game. I understand. Shoot. You got to lose some battles out there. In the course of a game, that's what happens, right? I can't be so emotionally invested that I'm just out of my frame. I just my whole day is ruined, my week ruined, and all. Man, if you start doing that, you need to back away. Take some perspective in it. Enjoy the game, enjoy your team, enjoy all those different things. Man, enjoy the Kingdom where they're at right now. Man, this is an incredible time to be a fan. And we see how them jokers up there in Cincinnati, how miserable them jokers are.
Yeah. Having to argue what a definition of a pass interference is. I love seeing that conversation online today.
Yeah. We don't want to be them guys. We do not want to be those guys.
Yeah.
So, look, I love you all. Thank you all for showing up, coming out here, me running my mouth. Y'all,
we love it, JD. We live for it.
Hey, man, shoot, man, I live for y'all. Doing this thing, man, because I love y'all guys so much. Love playing, love being a part of the Kingdom, love being a fan, but I love people more. I love people more. And so when I say that, man, don't take it lightly. And I appreciate each and every one of you all to come out here. So now I'm not, with you. You know what? I'm not going to let people get under my skin. Times when they about to peel my skin back, get underneath, I'm like, you know what? I ain't even going to trip. I'm just going to throw this out here right now. That's all. I'm just going to throw this out here. I'm like, look, I'm going to let everybody know who they are. So the thing is, when you start seeing these negative comments and people saying these different things, you'll be able to see the jokers for who they are. You dig what I'm saying? Right? It'll be so easy to find out who these people are. Because then the negativity comes out of what they say. We know that. So it's easy to find, the wolves from the sheep, okay? The pretenders from the real dudes. So we understand that. So, but I know y'all folks, when y'all come up here, man, y'all family. Y'all are family. That's why we love you. So I know y'all with us. I know y'all are. And we with those guys out there on the field. Every time they go out there and swing, we're going to swing right there with them. So appreciate you people, man. Appreciate it. Chris, good seeing you, brother. Good seeing you out here. So people will always show their true colors. They will. They will. We had to reveal a whole different part of who we are, a better part to them. We got to shine that light. We got to be a much better show of colors, right? The love and things that we got to give that out to the people, man. This is hell of a time to be a football fan. Hell of a time to be a Chiefs, in the Chiefs kingdom. So enjoy it, man. There's some good football being played right now by some really talented guys. Enjoy it all. Enjoy it all. So, look, kept y'all for a long time tonight. Didn't mean to do it. Love you guys, Marcus. I know we sitting over here, kind of got started a little late, man, but I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Newt, I'm gonna relax, baby. Hey, I'm even killed. You see my wife. She's out here. She said she's loving it because she knows this is who I am. I'm right here. I bring it down here, baby. So love you guys. This is therapeutic. You know how I feel. When I come out there, I'm gonna let y'all know when I come out. We got to do a show out there. I hope y'all come and show up. Come see me. So.
All right. Well, we had a packed house tonight. Seeing the most regular faces we had around. I think we peaked at around 75 at one point tonight.
Awesome.
But it was great having everyone on here. Our Monday night shows Wednesday. So I've been trying to get in touch with Dr. Chow, the Twitter doctor. So JD, I was going to talk to you about this. So you and I are going to have to do a pre-recording with him earlier on because he said around that time we do our live show. He said he'll be in surgery around that time. This guy, legitimate doctor, but he's gonna. You and I are gonna do a pre-recording with him, and we get our show Wednesday night. JD and I will play that segment for you guys to watch. Premiere it on the show for you guys on Wednesday. We're gonna talk about Hollywood Brown injury with him as well as the Pacheco injury with him. So so good stuff coming Wednesday night for you guys. And JD is gonna take us into the dungeon with some whiteboard work on Wednesday as well. So lots of good stuff coming for our midweek show this week.
Absolutely. Look, Witchy Hall, Andre Chenault, Michael Adams, New Rockney, Martin Moore, Sweetie, About Time, Ghost Hunter 1974, Go For, Everett KC, Charles Driver, Mike Brennan, Trey L, Kathy, Welch, Vegas Chief Kingdom. I seen Amder Brown, Tony Yao, Chris Powell. Good seeing you, brother. Everybody else. Who else did I not get? It was say. I know there's a lot in there. Gary Holland. Look, Neff, I know if you're still in here, always good seeing you and talking to you. Pono, I think I've seen you here for a little bit. Michael Adams, everybody. Hey, listen, Lacey Snake, everybody, y'all take care. Melly Matrix, I think I've seen you here too. Love you guys. Y'all take care. God bless. We will see you on Wednesday. Love y'all. All right. Marcus, love you, brother.
Love you, brother. Love you guys, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night and the rest of this Monday Night Football game, and we'll see you guys Wednesday. Take it easy, everybody. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.